Every reader has that moment in their life when they pick up a book that utterly changes how they look at their favorite genre. For some, it's kind of early. Some people it's late. A few months ago, I was lucky enough to pick up one of those books and review it right on this channel. Today, we're looking at another book by the same author. I'm going to tell you why Naomi Novik is my new favorite author ever. Hello everyone, welcome to the Book Cafe. Most of you know what we do by now, but if you don't, we review books and interview people in the publishing industry. If you're new here, consider subscribing. A few months ago, I gave my first ever collect every edition rating to a book. That one being Naomi Novik's Spinning Silver, which you can watch on the link that just appeared on screen, or on the link that's going to be at the end of the video. And that book was such an amazing experience for me that I had to share it. I actually got it as a Christmas present for two different people. On my list was its predecessor, Uprooted. That's the book we're reviewing today. Novik's writing is something very special. I have read books that I liked, books that I loved, that I sometimes struggled to get through, simply because they weren't as engaging as they could be. Uprooted disappeared on me. It took me 2 days to get through the whole thing. I barely remembered to stop to eat. And given my tendency to absentmindedly snack when I get bored, that's actually saying quite a bit. So let's start with a synopsis. It's set in a fantasy version of Poland, where the border between Poland and Russia has been infested by a sentient, malevolent forest that infects everything that enters it and turns them into bits of its own mind, and then attempts to use them against humanity. There's a valley with a small number of villages that are just on the border of this forest. This valley is defended by a single wizard called the Dragon, who helps fight the wood back, without whom the entire valley would have been overtaken ages ago. For this, he demands a cost. Now, every 10 years, he chooses a 17-year-old girl from one of the villages to live in his tower as his servant for 10 years, at the end of which he lets them go, but none of them ever stay in the valley after. It's a terrifying honor to be chosen, and everyone expects that this year's selection is going to be a girl named Kasia. The problem is that Kasia is not the narrator or the main character. That honor goes to Agnieszka, who the dragon realizes was born a witch, leading to Agnieszka being chosen as his servant for the next 10 years. The resulting story plays a lot with the idea of chaos versus order and how they interplay, different kinds of love and how they can both be salvation and destruction, how knowledge can both exalt you and destroy you, and overall the sort of the conflict between the court and the countryside, and how different your view is on the malevolent wood when you're someone who's actually lived there. Uprooted shares many of its best qualities with Spinning Silver. The characters are all complex and multidimensional and very, very real, and I know I say that a lot, but Novik elevates that from this is a multidimensional character to this is a real person that we're being told a story about. Every single character has multiple conflicting desires and motivations, and part of the fun of this novel is watching them all clash and watching two characters who want to help each other be completely unable to because of outside circumstances, or two characters who want each other dead deciding that they have the same goal and that they need to work together in order to survive. You're watching Agnieszka develop from a terrified country girl into basically the reincarnation of Baba Yaga is one of the greatest and most subtle character transformations I've ever seen. You can't even track each point of the transformation. It happens so gradually that you're halfway through the story before you realize this is not the same character you were listening to 30 pages ago. She is significantly stronger, significantly more badass, and just watching that transformation is a delight. That said, my favorite character is not Agnieszka, it's Kasia. Simply because she is such a giving and fascinating person, and knowing that Kasia and Agnieszka are best friends even though they resent each other for the way their relationship is built. And knowing that both of them know that is an incredible bit of character building. When I say that this book is a work of genius, it's sort of difficult to contextualize that properly. It's one of the greatest books I've ever read. There is only one thing I can say that is not in the book's favor, which is that I feel like Nomic didn't. There's only one thing I can say that is not in the book's favor, which is that I feel like Novik didn't realize that she was writing a lesbian romance, which is that I feel like somewhere along the way, which is that Agnieszka and Kasia had far more chemistry than Agnieszka and the dragon. And honestly, I think Kasia should have been Agnieszka's love interest. Agnieszka literally moves heaven and earth for Kasia. Each one on a separate occasion, but she does it to the point where everything she does in the course of the novel is for her. And I feel like her ending up with the dragon, it was kind of unavoidable based on the way the story was set up, but she had so much more chemistry with Kasia. I feel like they should have ended up together. This is going to sound weird. I feel like that's the way Novik was writing it without realizing it. You'll see what I mean if you read the book. You might agree with me, you might not. Personally, I felt that the Agnieszka-Kasia relationship arc was much more compelling than the Agnieszka-Dragon one, and I feel like it should have been romantic. However, that said, romance between Agnieszka and the dragon was handled better and more believably than most romance that I've ever seen. So that should tell you the caliber we're shooting for here. It's great versus incredible. Good is not even on the table here. That is how much this book blows everything else out of the water. All things considered, I think Spinning Silver is better, which makes sense because it was written after this one. However, I absolutely still rate this at collect every edition. Novik's work is so good, I feel like I have to invent new words just to describe it. Buy it, read it, recommend it to your friends, recommend it to your enemies, who will then no longer be enemies because this book is so good they will fall in love. Teach your pets to read so they can read this. Seriously, if you haven't already clicked on the Amazon link below, what are you doing with your life? Have you read Uprooted? What did you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let us know your opinions in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click on the like button. Click here to subscribe, and here to watch our review of Naomi Novik's Spinning Silver. We're going to have a new review out for you next Saturday, so until then, read good fantasy.